Behind me over here we have a stuck Isuzu, but it is stuck for a reason, and let me tell you why. Today we are here with Kurt. So Kurt, please introduce yourself.
Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Kurt Brunner from Ultimate Bush Adventurer, a new South African company. I design, develop and manufacture very interesting overlanding products, and I have a few that I import. So yeah, over to you.
Awesome, thank you. So today we are doing a recovery video. We are using some of his recovery gear to educate everyone about how to safely recover, which recovery gear you must use in which scenarios, and just general safety about recovering.
Excellent.
Cool, let's get started. The first thing you need to look at when doing recoveries is your recovery points. A standard tow ball is not strong enough for heavy 4x4 recoveries. You hook your tow rope over, the chances of it popping off is very high. A standard tow bar is not rated very high, so the chances of it snapping and breaking off is very high, and it can send this metal ball right through a windshield or right through a panel of a car, injuring or killing the people inside. So it is advised to get rated recovery points. In my case, I have this recovery point which has a pin you release, and then you put your rope through the pin like that. Having the rope in the middle over here spreads the weight over these 2 points, and it does not have all the pressure on one single point. Now you've also got rated recovery points like these, and on a standard vehicle you also have rated recovery loops in the front which are welded into your chassis.
You can also use a hitch receiver on the rear of your vehicle, provided that you have a receptacle that this can slide into. So most bumper replacements and a lot of tow bars have a removable tow bar which you can just slot this into. This is rated to 5 tons. Make sure that your tow bar can also handle it, because very often mild steel bolts are used instead of high tensile bolts, etc., etc. So just do a double check and make sure everything works well.
After finding your recovery points, the next thing you should look at is what type of shackle you should use. So you get the soft shackle and you get the metal shackle. Kurt, tell us why the soft shackle is the chosen one.
Well, chosen or not, I don't know. It's lighter and they are a lot stronger per weight. So if you want to find yourself an 18-ton steel shackle, it's massive. So just on practicality, this is a lot easier and user-friendly. It has its limitations, which we will discuss. This one is a little bit longer than standard, so it allows you to go around a chassis or an axle, you know, if you really need
Worst
to do
case
something.
scenario.
Yeah.
And then show me quickly how it works.
You just slip the rope through itself to increase it, and you put the knot through, and then it self-tightens. So the harder you pull, the more it tightens. And eventually it'll break. This is rated to 18 tons. The batch of rope, I have every batch tested by the CSIR, and it has a certificate, so there's no legality issues. This broke at 20 tons.
Oh wow. Okay, now onto the metal shackle. The place you use a metal shackle is on sharp recovery points, correct?
100%.
So that is where the weakness of the soft shackle comes in, is when there's a sharp edge, like my recovery points over here have got a very sharp edge to them.
Correct.
It can hurt the rope.
It will.
And that's where you combine the two, where you use, or you can combine the two. You use the metal shackle and then you put the soft shackle over it.
Or you just go straight onto the tow rope or the kinetic
Yes.
rope. And always remember to try and halve your tonnages.
That's where the load equalizer comes in, correct? Okay, let's talk about that.
A load equalizer is a very important piece of equipment that you should have. And the reason why is it equalizes the load. Instead of doing a vicious, harsh recovery of one point where all the tonnage is there, you are now halving it by putting it on either chassis member. And you simply thread the tow rope or kinetic rope through here. You do not need a shackle here, and off you go. The load equalizer does 2 other jobs. You can use it as a bridle to secure to your snatch rope for safety, and you can wrap it around a tree as a tree trunk protector.
The next thing you have to look at is what type of rope you have to use for the recovery. Now you get 2 types of rope. You get a tow rope and you get a snatch rope. Good, tell us the difference between the two.
Well, you would always start off by looking at what the scenario is when you're stuck. You want to use the least force always. So if you can pull someone out gently, well then you go for the tow rope. Low forces, no wear and tear, unnecessary wear and tear on the vehicle, etc. If the vehicle is completely bogged down and you've tried this and it doesn't work, then you take it a step higher and you graduate to the snatch rope. That's what I would do.
Tell me exactly how a snatch rope works.
Well, this is quite an interesting conversation because this got its life in the marine industry for ships that are tethered to the quay because they move with the tide. So you want your rope to stretch. So somebody got clever and they thought, well, we can recover vehicles with this. So you're wanting a tonnage that will stretch with your car. So if you take this 9.5 ton and use it on a Jimny, you're going to break your neck. The Jimny is too light to stretch this. So always buy the kinetic rope in proportion to the weight of your vehicle. Times it by 3, rule of thumb. So 9.5 tons, 2-ton vehicle, times that 6 tons, it'll stretch. A little 1.5 ton Jimny, not going to stretch. So that's why I have a 7,000 ton for the light vehicle market.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And basically you attach it to the two vehicles, and when you pull, it stretches and then it yanks the other vehicle out.
The kinetic energy, so you leave a few coils on the ground, the vehicle that's doing the recovery drives. You don't have to try and snap the thing, just drive with a purpose and keep going, and the stretches and the kinetic energy just then pops the stuck vehicle out. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. These things can break if you don't use it wisely. One of the things is sand in the fibers, not good, and sunlight destroys any rope.
And apparently water is also very bad for these.
Well, if you wet it, dry it in the shade. That's why a fire station has always got those towers. That's where they dry the ropes, the hoses, in the shade. Can't dry it in the sun. That's, it's not there for show, it's for the shade.
So in this scenario now, what would you use? We're going to use a tow rope for this one, correct?
Correct, because I'm not seriously stuck and it is on a gradient.
So the gravity will help it.
Yep, use nature.
Cool, so let's get the tow rope attached and then do recovery.
Just one last thing, polyurethane dipped eyes, very important for extra protection. It helps.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm going to use the soft shackle for this recovery. For starters, this vehicle hasn't had recovery points fitted yet. So we're going to use the tow bar, and the tow ball bolts to the tow bar. Never recover off a tow ball. It's not rated. It is for rolling mass only. So we take the soft shackle, we put it around the tow bar. We put the rope through it, through the little eye. And we are ready for our recovery. Easy as that.
Another quick tip on these metal shackles is when you fasten them, tighten them fully once and then one turn loose. This will help you loosen it once the recovery is done and all the load and pressure is off. Otherwise they become too difficult to undo and then you're stuck with your shackle on your vehicle. In this recovery we're taking up the tension. This is a tow rope we're using, so we can just do it slow and steady. Equalizer's on, tension is on, a little bit of a pull and he's out. As simple as that. There we go. Easy recovery. There is some basic recovery information for you guys. There are a few more tips before the end of the video. One being opening your bonnet when you're doing a recovery. It is more used during winches so that if a rope snaps, it hits your bonnet and doesn't go into your windshield. It's kind of an extra protective thing. But you can damage your bonnet when doing a snatch recovery. So basically just in a hard tow scenario, maybe you can do it. It's just something you can add on. Anything you want to add?
Detail recovery is all logic. It's mathematics, it's geometry. As long as you just slow everything down, one person does the talking, the experienced person says what needs to happen. People need to stand as far away as possible, and use as little force as necessary to start with. You don't have to go guns blazing and try and pull the bumper off the car to get it out. I mean, you probably rode walking speed away from me now when you did the snatch rope. That's all that's needed. If it doesn't work, do it again with a little bit more speed. And
start slow and then build up.
Absolutely. I always, we don't have gloves with us today. I like gloves because it just keeps your hands clean. You take them off and you get in the car, those are going to wash your hands, and we've got to wash our hands now. So little things like that matter. And a recovery blanket that you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
If you don't have a recovery blanket, our recovery bag has got these metal loops on, so you simply put 2 carabiners here and you can hang it on the winch cable or the rope or whatever it is, just for a bit of extra precaution.
Yeah, so a recovery blanket, for those who don't know, or in this case the bag, is a weight you put in the middle of the rope so that if it does snap, it pulls the rope down towards the ground and doesn't cause it to shoot through the sky or shoot back to the cars or to stand bystanders. Yeah, theoretically. And that's also where the soft shackles come in. Is if something does happen, a soft shackle hitting a car is less damaging than a metal shackle.
It won't kill you,
So thank you very much for your insightful information.
Absolute pleasure.
If there are any more questions about recoveries, drop them in the comments below. I'll tag your company in the comments below, in the description below, with all your gear. People can go check it out there, check the ratings, check what he has to offer. And like I said, any comments, drop them below. I'll forward it on to him, or I'll answer them in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.
It is important to note that all recovery situations are unique. The terrain type, vehicles involved, the location, and many more factors need to be taken into consideration when doing a recovery. The information in this video is just some basic information on recovery gear. It is best to assess your own situation and use your own discretion when in a recovery scenario.